is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 6T3. My name is Ben. Thank you very much for stopping by this channel and patronizing my antics, I guess, would be one of the things that you do when you turn this channel on. If you didn't mind, real quick, hit a like on the video, possibly subscribe to the channel. If you're finding all of this information useful to you, it's cold out. Hopefully this is one of the last cold nights in New York. I see that there are 40s and 50s coming up in the forecast here. So to a New Yorker, that is like summertime. I will be walking around in a t-shirt, as ridiculous as that sounds. If you live in New York or in the Northern Territories, you know exactly what you're talking about. When winter starts to finally break and you're able to not wear, double sweatshirts in order to shoot videos out in barns, and you can just wear a regular sweatshirt or a t-shirt, it is amazing. That thing that pops into the sky, I believe it's called the sun. I haven't seen it like 6 months, so I'm just guessing, but all right. We're keeping with the flow here. I was going to do a video on a new product, but it isn't in yet. I think I'm going to do a video on it. Don't quote me on that. I'm not going to tell you what it is till it's here. Therefore, you won't know what you missed in case I don't do it. Anyway, Track Tack Mint. This is part of the Track Tack series where I take a singular prep from the Track Tack line that I love. I explain what it's about, what it's used for, and this and that. And give me 1 second and let me get the bottle. Okay, back we are. What are we talking about today? Track Tack Tire Tuff Mint. There is the bottle, and it is this prep. I don't know if you can quite make it out. It's dark in here and what have you, but this is probably the prettiest of the Track Tack lineup of reps. Not that it matters, it goes on your tires, but when it's sitting on your shelf and it looks pretty. It's got a nice shiny label. The color of the prep is kind of a bluish greenish kind of look to it. Anyway, what is Tire Tuff Mint? So you have to first go to Tire Tuff. What is Tire Tuff? I will cover that in a video here shortly, but that is the internal. That is going to it's going to elongate the life of your tire. It is going to change the elasticity of the rubber that it's coming in contact with. Well, what does Mint do? Mint does this from the outside. So there's a component, a chemical component to this that will not transfer from inside the tire to outside. So this is not something that you're going to run on the internal of a tire, but rather on the external. Now, what is the product going to do? This is going to drop your durometer a little bit, maybe a couple 2 to 3 points, but what it's going to do is twofold. It's going to add that tire toughness to it. It is actually going to create a tire that will last longer, but it is also going to add quite a bit of bite. Now, when applying this product, this has also a component similar to black sand, as I recall correctly. That is the bite additive. Well, with black sand, you want to let that set about a week to get the max effort of whatever that component is to add to your tire, that bite component to add to your tire. You're going to want about 3 weeks for this. So this is, I've heard of people wiping this on track, and we'll talk about that in a second, but what you're going to want to do is wipe 2-3 coats of this on your tires and set them to the side. Let the chemical do its job. Let it get in there. Let it start to, help that elasticity of the tire and add that bite component to the tire. Like I said, it's going to drop it a little bit, but it's not going to drop it a lot to where you have to worry. If you need something in the higher durometer range, it's not going to drop it that much that it's going to matter. But what it is going to do is really bite those tires up. It is going to get you really grippy pretty quickly. I won't say it's a downside to this product, but what you're going to find is if you add this to, say, a lower durometer tire and you want to go even lower than that, well, this is going to make that more difficult. So consider it almost a lock on a durometer, and nothing's for certain, nothing's for sure. Hey, it's never going to drop a point below. It's not that type of prep. But what it is going to do is make it even more difficult to drop a durometer. So you can go ahead and use it on your harder tires, add that bite component, add a toughness to that tire to where it's going to last a little bit longer. You can previously drop the durometer of the tire with something like Topaz, something like a BTGP Red. You want to get that durometer down, then go ahead and add this afterwards. That is going to add, an element of a lock to that durometer to where it's not going to go any lower, but it also shouldn't climb either. So it really should stay in that, that couple point durometer range if used correctly. Now, this isn't exact science. I'm not saying that's definitely what's going to happen, but it is something that I have found that if you don't want, if you're done dropping durometer, go ahead and apply this. If you're just looking for a bite component, go ahead and apply this. Now, I mentioned there briefly, people have used it at track. I think you're kind of wasting it. I would much rather use something like a 50-50 cut Acrosol and black sand at the track. But if one were to want to do that, you could go ahead and cut this with the Acrosol. You're still going to get that bite component to it. It's not going to be, I think you're wasting it because you're missing the premise of the waiting for the chemical to do its job. You can make it happen faster, and I'm sure people do it, and they'll swear by it. Wiping it at track is kind of, not useless, but I think it's a waste of product. For the prices that some of these chemicals go for, don't waste them. Use them to, what they're recommended to be used and go about it that way. Maybe, I suppose. If it's up to you. If you want to do that, knock yourself out. Maybe you could blend a little bit of this, a little bit of black sand, a little bit of Acrosol, giving even a stronger bite component, if you're willing to play with something. But yeah, a really great product. I really do like it. What you're going to find also is this product, some of the preps when you, my preferred method is the sandwich container with the applicator sponge on the inside. This feels thicker. So you're going to draw the sponge out, you're going to wring it out, and you're going to wipe it, and it's going to have an oilier, that's a oilier type of consistency to it. Go ahead and let that dry in between coats. As always, I always recommend that. Let dry in between coats. Just don't slather and slather and slather. It's going to run off the floor. It's going to be a waste of product. Wipe it, wait for however long it takes, even if it takes a couple hours. This product, you're not in a rush. Wipe it, leave it a couple hours out in the sun, whatever you got to do. Another wipe, 3-4 wipes, however many you see fit to do. Let it dry in between, set them to the side for the 3 weeks. That is recommended. So that is your spotlight today for Track Tack and the Track Tack series that I am doing here. As always, I will put all the information to get a hold of them. Did I do the Facebook? There might be Facebook contact on there. I'm not quite sure, but link to their site, JC Specialties, is where I buy my Track Tack products. So that'll be in there as well. Links in the drop-down menu. So there you go, guys. Track Tack Tire Tuff Mint. That's a mouthful. But all right, we will see you Sunday. I'll see you Sunday. All right, later.